The city grew dramatically over the past few months. With that insane growth came ever-increasing traffic problems, which brought one of the city's main arteries to a complete standstill. The main problem here is the really high traffic volume during rush hour. In the morning and evening, the capacity of this highway exit is simply not enough to handle all the cars and trucks trying to make a left turn into the city here. The single-point urban interchange with traffic lights is also not exactly optimal for left-turning traffic, because the intersection design only allows for 3 traffic light cycles. Even with perfectly timed and working traffic lights, I think it could come to problems, so I knew from the start I had to redesign the whole road layout. Right turns into the harbor area are no problem, but in addition the cars keep stopping, even though they have a green face themselves, which further exacerbates the problem. Namely, as you can see here, we have this main artery that serves local traffic but also through traffic through the map. And since a lot of cars want to leave the highway exit here and then turn left where the main population and job centers of the city are located, all traffic on all 3 lanes of the highway is blocked and obstructed by the ongoing merging into a single right lane. But how to fix this? The main focus should be on the left turns, so they are no longer hindered and slowed down by traffic lights. I also tried to give people as many different ways as possible to get into the city center. They should be able to use other roads, for example the parallel one here, and not just this one kind of road up the hill here. Of course, we have to build a few bridges for this, and the whole thing wasn't exactly easy or cheap as we only had a very limited amount of space, but in the following time lapse I show you how I managed the whole thing relatively well. And whether it really worked at the end of the day you can see at the end of the video. I am Imperatur, and today you can see the first traffic fix for the Fort Francia Bay region. Oh yeah, and before anyone mentions it in the comments, we have actually pretty good public transit access to here, so this shouldn't be the problem. What is immediately noticeable here is that we only have very minimal space available. So for example, we can't add large loop ramps or anything like that. So I started by tearing down the highway and extending it with a 3+5 road created with the road builder mod, as the 2 added right hand lanes are then there to distribute the traffic to various exits. Then I thought it would be pretty clever to connect a ramp in an S-curve with a wide road that runs to the left of the expressway, so that you can easily drive under the highway and continue in the same direction, but on the arterial road instead. From there you can also get to various places in the town center of Fort Francia Bay. That takes a bit of pressure off the road that goes up the mountain and was to date the only possible way to exit the expressway in this area, which was effectively one of our goals. Of course, we had to keep an eye on the height of the bridges, as they had to have a minimum clearance for trucks, for example. In the end, I more or less succeeded in doing this. All the overpasses have a sufficient height, but some parts of the road have become relatively steep in order to be able to guarantee this. This is not optimal, but definitely not that unrealistic, as on and off ramps in some areas in real life can also get quite steep. What definitely played into our hands here is that the terrain has relatively high differences in height, and for example another road bridge fit easily through under this wide bridge from the arterial road next to the expressway without any further problems. This is also where we draw the bridge that leads across the single point urban interchange, which remains the same except for this left turn that we elevated above it. Like that we avoid the traffic lights, and this leads to a significantly better traffic flow than before, which you will definitely be able to see right off the bat when I start the simulation again. That was practically all we had to do in order to fix the traffic issue. Just eliminate the traffic signaled left turn and add another option to access this area. After that we simply had to reconnect the other roads and of course try to make the whole thing as smooth as possible, but we'll do some more polishing later in the video to blend everything back nicely together. We didn't have to change anything in the other traffic directions, as it was really only this one direction that was plagued by the extreme congestion. And when we started the simulation again, it was so satisfying to see everything running super smoothly and in a continuous flow. Unfortunately, a few houses had to make their way here, although I hadn't originally planned to do so, but the lane simply wouldn't have allowed you to go straight up the road from the bridge that makes the left turn, because we still have 3 lanes next to it that are in between, and the space for the weaving and merging here was far too short, so the 2 lanes from the bridge lead directly to the right around the bend onto the other main road, where we also converted the one-way street directly at the intersection into pedestrian paths, to ensure a continuous flow of traffic up to the next intersection at least. But then, of course, we needed a bridge to ensure a smooth flow of traffic up the hill onto the road. As I said, a few houses had to make way for this, and it is perhaps no longer the most pedestrian-friendly part of the city, although it goes right up to the old town and the fortress. But the flow of traffic was simply more important to me than the pedestrian friendliness of the area here. God bless America. Of course, there are still crosswalks at the intersection though. Then I also used the traffic mod to connect all the lanes so that everything has its order and cars won't make stupid maneuvers as they always like to do. I hope you can follow me at the speed of the time lapse though. I then placed the fire station from the German Regions pack here on the corner, as it also has this rounded edge and fitted perfectly in terms of space. I added 2 more buildings next to it so that everything fits in reasonably well within the cityscape. It may not be the nicest place to live, but I think it's okay because you're within walking distance of all the important places in this part of the city, and you're also not far from the metro station. Public transportation doesn't seem to do anything to reduce car traffic in general. At least my usage is unfortunately always pretty low. But on the other hand, I think it's super cool to see so many cars on the streets. It makes the whole scene a bit more lively, and if there is a traffic jam from time to time, it's not unrealistic, although of course it's always a lot more satisfying to look at when everything is on a move. What I always like to do is to place pillars individually underneath the bridges, as this gives you a more realistic distance and look to it. That's exactly what I will do here. I search for them with Find It, and then I place them somewhere outside on an open plot of land, because they tend to snap to the roads and then they are not movable anymore. If you do so, you can then move them into the right position with the Move It mod. Unfortunately, you can't copy them with the Ctrl-C mod or so, which is a bit annoying because you really have to place every post individually. After that, I put this big car arch bridge under the metro tracks, because it would have been really difficult to place the pillars in that space with all the bridges underneath here, but this way we get the look we had before with the double arch bridge. This time not over the road, but over the metro line though. Then I use a few more horizontal posts to make it all a bit nicer. I don't know why I'm using this technique now in the last 3 videos and never used it before. But somehow I think it just looks pretty cool, but I promise to stop, because at some point it gets a bit repetitive. I'll spend the rest of the video putting more pillars under the bridges, but also adding a bit of gravel or bushes and trees in the surrounding areas so that everything blends in well with the rest again, and you could think it would never have been any different.
You are my pill, I swallow it. Take me away to Neverland, where colors fade my disbelief and make me forget my memory. Rent a car you can't afford, put on a song that we both know. Let your hair out in the wind, put the pedal to the floor, flame your light, take a smoke. Put your broken rip-off wafers on. Doesn't matter if the sun goes down, we'll still be up, still be up. Don't care about the place we found, we'll still be up, still be up. We're in this together, we both fall down. Doesn't matter if the sun goes up, cause we will still be high when the lights out.
I'm not quite sure yet whether I really want to leave it all like this. With the concrete ceiling, which then carries the highway above it, is it perhaps a bit overkill? What do you think? I also checked that all the clearance heights were correct, and then we were actually already almost finished. And as you can see in the background all the time, there's really no reason to worry that there will be a big traffic jam here, and that was definitely my aim. So I think we were quite successful with the redesigning of the roadway here. Of course, just like Robert Moses would have liked, it's extremely geared towards cars and trucks in this area, but you can't really walk here as a pedestrian anyway, as there is only the harbor down here, and otherwise only industry is located around the waterfront. It is simply not a nice area to be at, but we have the parks around the star-shaped fortress that are very inviting to take a walk. Unfortunately, it is also not possible to walk through this mess. You have to take the path around the outside, past the lifting bridge and along the coast. But as I said, that just wouldn't be a nice place to stay anyway, and that's why there's no way as a pedestrian or cyclist to get through to the harbor under the bridges here. I think the difference in these shots speaks for itself. We definitely managed to break up the congestion and ensure a smooth flow of traffic. Apart from a few losses, we also managed to fit everything into the limited space quite well. And that's what counts at the end of the day. What do you think of the end result? What would you have done differently? Definitely let me know in the comments. Very cool that you stuck around to the end and watched me fix the most painful traffic jam in Fort Francia Bay. I'm definitely really pleased with how everything turned out. This is the city I built in my ongoing one tile per episode series. So if you want to see how we built everything you see in the background, you can check out the playlist and hit the subscribe button to not miss any upcoming videos. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, you can give the video a like. If you want to support me further, you can visit my Patreon site. There you will find the save game for the city. You are very welcome to explore everything yourself, down to the last detail, but don't forget to download all the mods I used. It's only a few simple clicks to copy the playset with all the mods I use, so you have only work for 1 minute to hop in game. Everything is exactly explained on my Patreon page. You can also find my graphic settings over there, and we can also chat a bit and have a nice time, of course. I would like to thank all the people who have already decided to support me on Patreon so much. But can we reach 500 active patrons in the next few weeks? There are only 20 missing. That would be absolutely amazing and another big milestone. Your support over there makes videos like this on such a regular basis even possible, so if you want to see more, you know what to do. But now I say see you for the next video, when we'll continue with the next tile until we fill out the complete map. So please give a like if you support the project. Have a nice day and ciao ciao for now.